Growing up, I heard nothing but endless stories of my parents' beautiful hometown of Lebanon. Beautiful mountains, beautiful trees, and fast-flowing rivers. But to me, this just really sounded like boring, boring, and boring. But 17 years later, I found out my parents were going to put me on a plane and send me halfway across the world to meet the other half of my family, people who I really didn't care for. But there I was sitting in a seat with a stranger on each side of me on an airplane, with 13 hours of nothing to think about but this beautiful summer I was going to miss back in the US with my friends. As we approached Beirut, I grabbed my luggage and I headed towards this gate in a hurry. And then I realized, I don't even know who I'm looking for. But as those gates opened and I heard people screaming my name, and as I headed towards them to greet them with a handshake and a kiss on each cheek, as is custom in our culture, I did so. Handshake, kiss, kiss. Handshake, kiss, kiss. And then I lunged towards this woman, gave her a handshake and kiss on each cheek, and as she pulled away with a red face and shock with her hands up like this, I asked my cousins what was going on, and it turns out the lady who I just gave a handshake to wasn't even part of my family, and it was just another stranger in the airport. Shocked and in disbelief, I just did this in front of my whole family. I had a whole car ride home with my head down, facing my phone, and just ashamed. As we approached the home I was going to be staying at, I opened the doors and there was just a feast set up, with family members all around the table with food everywhere. They were all conversating, laughing, and joking, and I couldn't believe this. I was sitting in a room with a bunch of strangers who I didn't even know, and I had nothing to do. So I sat there on my phone with my head down, just texting away, texting away. Then I realized my battery had just died. Now what was I going to do? As I sat there listening to their conversations, they just kept going on and on and on, and I started listening, and their stories started to get funnier and funnier and funnier. So I started saying maybe I should give them a chance. As I started to partake in their conversations, I felt myself at ease, getting a lot more comfortable and relaxed. They started talking to me, I talked back, and we just laughed. All night, several hours had passed by, and I had nothing to do but laugh with them. That next morning, I couldn't wait to rush out of bed and go sit with my family members, and we did the same thing over and over and over again. But as these weeks started rolling by and my summer was coming to an end, I realized that I had to make the best of my time. So I started giving them more of myself. I started joking more, laughing more, and I became the most comfortable person I could have become. I felt like I was at home this time. But as the summer came to an end, and I had to hop on my plane and head back to the US, I gave them all a handshake and a kiss on each cheek, handshake, kiss on each cheek. But this time I made sure I didn't kiss the wrong person. As I hopped on my plane and I headed back to the US for another 13 hours, this time I had nothing to think about but the beautiful people I had just met. And I learned a lesson that day, that trying new things isn't always a bad thing. And sometimes it takes a little time to get more comfortable with these people, and the more I opened up, I felt like I was more comfortable with them. So this was a new lesson that I had, and this was something I'd carry on with me for the rest of my life.